This video is sponsored by HelloFresh. The hype is real, and now, since we're getting ready for the sequel to be released, fingers crossed, next spring 2023, and if you haven't played Breath of the Wild yet, here you have 6 reasons why you should definitely start playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Regardless if you're an expert to the franchise, yes, I'm sure some of you have been avoiding it, or if this is going to be your first adventure. I hope you find at least one good reason to give it a try. It took me a whole year to actually start playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I was in fact avoiding any kinds of spoilers everywhere, and the main reason why I didn't play it until after 1 year of its release was because it didn't have a Nintendo Switch back then. And yes, I know I could play it on the Nintendo Wii U, but I just wanted to fully immerse on its vast open world on the Nintendo Switch for the first time. Let's start by knowing a little bit of the game and its story without any spoilers. Yes, I know we're talking about a game that was released a couple of years ago, but I just want you to have the entire experience if you decide to play it. And for those of you that have already played it, I hope I can share a couple of reasons why this is such an amazing masterpiece. Keep in mind that I'm not saying that this is the best Zelda game ever, because I differ from that opinion, but this is in fact one of the best ones out there, so stay till the end so I can share with you my thoughts on that. This Zelda game is no stranger to the franchise when it comes to the basic plot of the story. We start with Link, our protagonist, waking up from a 100-year slumber with no kingdom and no memory. The legendary hero must explore a vast and dangerous land to regain his memories and prevent Hyrule from being lost forever by defeating Calamity Ganon, and of course save Princess Zelda, who has been containing Calamity Ganon at Hyrule Castle for 100 years. To help you on your quest, Link must regain the power of 4 divine beasts, which are enormous animalistic machines developed by the ancient Sheikah's race that were piloted by 4 great warriors that were given the title of champions. There, very simple, right? Link must save Princess Zelda by defeating Calamity Ganon and restore peace to the kingdom of Hyrule. But of course, there are a lot of things that unravels as you keep playing through the main story, so it's up to you to find out the rest of the story. The first reason on my list is that even though the game's main objective is the same for everyone, each player's journey will be entirely different, and that is because Breath of the Wild is not just an open world game, but is a living world. In other words, it is truly wild as the title intended to be, and let me explain. Basically, the world responds to many different inputs. If it's raining, you won't be able to climb anything, as all the surfaces will get very slippery. If there's lightning, try to remove any weapon, shield, or bow with metal, or else you'll regret it. If you reach one of the tall towers where it's very cold, you'll start losing hearts as time passes. Or on an active volcano where you need either to get an elixir to keep you cool, or getting a hit-resistant suit to survive those extreme temperatures. And let's not forget about nature. As you're climbing up a hill, you might see a sheep grazing or a fox wandering around. Birds that will fly away if you approach them, all kind of wild animals that you can also use to make meals that will help you on your journey. If you're waiting for the perfect time to beat bokoblins or moblins, just wait until it's late at night and they fall asleep. Wherever you go, there's always a feeling that the world around you is alive. And it's not just a set of parameters waiting to get triggered. And all of this is part of the same objective when it comes to solving puzzles, like trying to find a Goro, complete one of the over 100 shrines scattered all across Hyrule, completing missions, and even defeating enemies that will make it unique to you. No matter how many times you restart your game, you'll always have a different experience. I can't believe that I'm actually adding this to the list, but after looking into it, I have to admit that Breath of the Wild is perfect for handheld gaming. But it's not the strongest feature for me, and that it's because I never actually owned a Game Boy in my childhood, and I'm the kind of person that likes to play her games on a big screen lying in the couch. However, this game does have great features that even though it's a huge and vast world to explore, you can always continue your journey from anywhere. There are a lot of articles and videos out there that will tell you that it actually runs better handheld, especially if the console resolution is 720p and it's trying to push 1080p to a bigger screen. the game automatically saves your progress from whatever you're currently standing. But if you're paranoid like me, you can always open the menu and save it manually. Additionally to this, the Nintendo Switch does have an amazing slip mode that will let you resume your gameplay almost right away. And of course, those tilting motion features that makes it interesting to use on some part of the game. But of course, you can always turn them off if you're like me and you don't really enjoy them. But I did enjoy being able to play it wherever I went. But again, I am not a fan. And finally, let's not forget that this is one of the best Nintendo Switch games out there. So if you're planning on getting a Nintendo Switch sooner than later, you should definitely get Breath of the Wild with it. Okay, we already covered how the environment has a lot of influence on the gameplay, but here I want to focus a lot in combat rather than the inventory, which I am going to cover as well in a bit. The initial part of the game is more like a tutorial that will prepare you for more challenges that will come as you start to explore the world. As you progress on the game, you'll come across increasingly powerful opponents, and we're not even talking about Master Mode yet. Sneaking on your opponents to bypass enemies without alerting all of them at once, using your bow instead of melee weapons as an element of surprise, or taking advantage of the time slowing mechanic while jumping using your bow to find your enemy's critical hit to knock them down. Or you could aim at explosive barrels or even a beehive to turn the fight around, and these are only some of the mechanics in the game. Now, switching over to melee encounters, as usual, you can block using your shield, but with the right timing, you can perfect guard to perform a parry that allows you to neutralize the strongest attack of your enemies and counter attack. When it's time to dodge, almost like a perfect guard, you can also perfect dodge to perform a strong counter attack known as a flurry rush. Blocking and dodging are essential for combat, and you should definitely master these techniques. Afraid that you might end up defeating every enemy on Hyrule? Don't worry, all of them will resurrect during a blood moon. When the red moon rises, all the enemies on the map will have been resurrected. The stamina concept was first introduced to the franchise on The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, known as a stamina gauge. However, there was no way to increase it, and honestly, it wasn't even necessary. But on the other hand, the more you explore Breath of the Wild, you will start to realize how important it is to increase your stamina wheel, especially while climbing enormous mountains for a long period of time. As your heart containers and heart pieces will increase your hearts in any Zelda game, in Breath of the Wild, you will have to choose between exchanging 4 spirit orbs that you have been collecting from shrines for a heart container or a stamina vessel, which, to be honest, is always a smart move to pick the stamina vessel, especially because it's easy to recover hearts or even increase them temporarily if you cook the proper meal or brew a good elixir, but it will be your own decision to make. And now that we're talking about cooking, Breath of the Wild offers you a lot of ingredients that you can find all across Hyrule. Some ingredients can only be found on specific regions of the map. Here you can get creative and learn which ingredients will recover your hearts, increase your stamina, and even resist extreme weather temporarily. For Link, it's easy to gather ingredients throughout Hyrule, but for me, just going to the grocery store takes a lot of time. So how about getting all the ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep? HelloFresh makes home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. No wonder why it's America's #1 meal kit. With HelloFresh, eating well can be stress-free and delicious. With over 35 weekly recipes, and you can choose between calorie-smart and carb-smart recipes, and even customize select meals by upgrading proteins, swapping sides, or adding protein to a veggie dish. It's super simple to personalize your plan when you order. Try HelloFresh today. Just click the link below for 21 free meals plus free shipping. Alright, back to the video. Along with the nice combat mechanics that we just discussed, you will have 4 rune abilities that you can use with your Sheikah Slate and combine them in combat, hitting your enemies with any metal objects with the Magnesis rune, or throwing bombs at explosives at any enemy camp that will annihilate anyone or at least give them a hard time, and finally making an enemy crash at one of the ice blocks while using Cryonis. You name it. You can even fly far distances when you hit a tree trunk several times while using stasis. You can use any combination while fighting your enemies and even bosses. There is a rumor that breakable weapons will be removed from the sequel, and for some, this is going to be a good thing as breakable weapons could be annoying, and while it's true that you will have your own playstyle and build, it's important to learn to use your weapons wisely. For example, if you're just starting, the best way to approach enemies will be by sneaking at them or using what's around you to beat them rather than using your best sword. You should use your best weapons only when necessary and find the method that will make you succeed, but never forget to be free to try something new. Let's be honest, the Legend of Zelda franchise has never been recognized for its difficulty, and on Breath of the Wild, you'll be defeated many times. You can select or switch between normal mode and master mode if you have the DLC, but there isn't an actual easy mode on its settings. The beauty of this is that you'll have to learn from your mistakes to try again or get stronger or get a better build to win a fight, which makes it very interesting and challenging. You can defeat most of your opponents with skill, but achieving such skill takes some time, patience, and effort, and the reward is very satisfying. You can get better armor and better weapons, so practice your timing on blocking and dodging to get each reward. The shrines are worth mentioning as you'll find over 100 shrines scattered all over Hyrule, some well hidden and some of them appearing only by completing certain missions. Although some shrines are interesting and challenging to solve them, over time it does feel a bit repetitive and annoying at some point. But you'll always get rewarded with 2 chests, and the second chest is always the best if you ask me, and of course get one of the spirit orbs when you figure things out. Without spoiling too much or diving into much of a detail, this is a neat plus. Breath of the Wild did a great job on making sure longtime Zelda fans get rewarded with their loyalty with plenty of references to past games. These references are not very easy to spot if you're a Zelda newcomer, so don't feel left out if you miss them. You might already notice that I haven't really talked about a lot of the story on the list, and that's because I think that those are one of the several things I didn't like about it. However, Breath of the Wild does quietly teach us about respect, honesty, and helping others. You'll find towns full of people and each citizen is ready to chat with. Some of them will have side missions for you, but many just have silly stories to tell and or a song to sing. Reacting to what you have to say, what time of the day is it, and also many characters will notice if you're walking around on your underwear. That's the level of attention to detail that you will get with Breath of the Wild. I mean, you can even help found a new town from the ground up. I didn't leave this reason to the end because it's the least important, but I know it's the most controversial on the game. There is a weird combination of story and gameplay that it might not feel right at some point. You will need to recover memories and flashbacks to tell this whole story, but it will still feel somewhat disconnected from the main quest, and this is one of the biggest reasons why I did not include the story as one of the reasons for you to play the game. All of this freedom in the world can easily get you lost and make you lose interest to follow our hero's predetermined destiny. Few friends of mine even stopped completely playing Breath of the Wild because they got annoyed after trying to figure out what to do or which path to follow. However, even after what I just said, I honestly still believe that this is one of Breath of the Wild's most satisfying features. It is important to have 2 things in mind when playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. First, do not play this game with any other open world in mind because you'll end up comparing it with those games. And second of all, be open-minded that even though this is a Zelda game, it's way different compared to previous releases. This is not an open world adventure experience like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, or The Witcher. No, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a game about discovery in its purest form. You can play for over a month and still you have not seen anything. Climbing, gliding, and riding a horse makes navigation a treat. You'll see sunsets, waterfalls, lakes, forests, shrines, stables, towns, and towers, and the beauty of the world will leave you breathless. By exploring the world, you'll learn valuable lessons through trial and error, and the solutions are often completely logical. This repeated cycle in the game is part of what makes it so magical. It gives you a sense of mystery and discovery on your entire journey. It even gives you the sense of being the first person to discover its treasures and secrets. The only real limitation will be yourself. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a game full of mystery and discovery that will give you hours and hours of fascinating moments, and each adventure will have a unique story. So it's worth giving it a chance. And that's it. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree with my list? Or did I miss one? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching this video. As always, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to the channel for more Zelda content. And remember, may the goddess smile upon you. See you soon!